What's that? You want to know who Savatar is? Okay, well you've come to the right place. Or maybe not, if I'm wrong. Welcome back guys, it's the Raw Geek here. Yes, I thought I would do a theory video. This is to do with Season 3 of The Flash, so if you're not watching that CW show, and if you're not interested in Arrowverse, then this might not be for you. But equally, if you are watching it, and you are interested in Arrowverse, and you're not quite caught up yet with the episodes, obviously this will have spoilers of some description, but I'm hoping you're around about the same sort of place I am. I think I'm maybe 2 episodes behind on The Flash. But that's enough to discuss this theory, and the theory is, who is Savatar? Now, last night I saw Paul, a guy I follow, and we follow each other on Twitter and that kind of thing. He runs DC World, and he just posed the question of, well, he was just saying, I'm speaking about Savatar with my friends, who do you think it is, kind of thing, and I replied on there who I thought it might be, and I thought, well, I'll do a quick theory video on it. I've done theory videos before for Marvel stuff, especially MCU, and the DCEU. I don't think I've done one. I've done some in my Raw News of the shows, but I've not done a standalone one, but I thought, why not? So basically, yeah, who is Savatar? Now, with The Flash, there's always been like an enemy or someone with a mask, and it's like, who's it going to be? And it's always been someone we know. Yeah, as a character has already been in the show. It's not someone brand new, and so I'm pretty sure they'll do the same thing here. Now, there is obviously the chance that it's someone we haven't seen yet, but I think that's probably not going to be the case at all, especially because the producers in that said recently it's going to really shock you. Now, if it was someone you didn't know, that wouldn't shock you because you don't know them, so it has to be someone already in the show. Now, the picture that was tweeted along from Paul is a picture from one of the episodes before where they're sort of showing that Savatar is getting the power and that kind of thing, and if you look at it, it does quite instantly rule out some people, in my opinion. Now, there are theories that it's Wally West. Now, if you're going by this picture, it doesn't look like it can be. It looks like it's a fairly built white guy, and it looks like he's got fair hair as well, in my opinion. But let's just pretend it might be Wally, and these are the reasons why it could be. So Wally's already had a bit of a mischievous side to him, hasn't he? And it's not against the realms of possibility that something happens which makes him sort of turn against the team a little bit in the future and go rogue. However, killing Iris, I think even if they fell out and he hated her, I can't see him killing his sister really, so I don't think that can be the case. A big reason why it can't be the case, apart from the fact the picture looks like a white guy, if that picture is to be believed that that's Savatar getting his powers way back when, is the fact that he is now, or was temporarily, trapped in the Speed Force in place of Savatar. Now, if that's the case, and Savatar is a future version of Wally who got disgruntled, he wouldn't put his younger version in the Speed Force, because he knows that would eventually cause an issue. But this is where the problem with the whole paradox stuff and the time remnants and all that stuff is an absolute mess, and it always is. And none of it makes any sense. Like, well, if they did that, why is he still there? And why, after Flashpoint, are the people still there? And, like, it's just absolutely mental. But I think it probably would cause some kind of time remnant somehow. His younger self's trapped there, stopping his future self getting to that stage to become Savatar. And it's just like, it's not possible. It creates a massive paradox. So, I don't think it's him for that reason. So then what about Ronnie Raymond? We know he sort of died, didn't he? Again, if you go by the picture, it looks like he's got fair hair, and Ronnie's got basically black hair, really dark brown hair. So I don't think it can be him. However, people don't die or stay dead very long in comic book land, so it makes sense that they might spring it upon us that it's him for that reason. But again, I can't think of any logical explanation as to explain why he's somehow come back and was different. I know there's been flashpoints, so things have changed, but I just can't really see it that he would be given the ultimate Speed Force power. It just doesn't really make any sense. There is, of course, HR Wells. It could be HR, and the reason why it might be HR, or why some people think it is because of the fact that HR is the only person in the whole team that calls Wally Wallace.
Good, because it seems to me the Speed Force is a little bit of a crazy place. Just ask Wallace.
But Savatar also calls Wally Wallace.
I have what I need to escape my hell, Wallace.
Not everything.
You can't get rid of that stone, Wallace. You're not fast enough.
That seems quite strange to me, that no one else, even his dad, no one calls him Wallace, but Savatar does, and HR is the only person that does. So HR has been pushing Wally to try and get speed, and you can't really understand why. And sometimes it doesn't always seem like it's for the good of mankind or altruistic reasons. Sometimes it just feels like he's pushing him for reasons unknown. It could be that he needs him to reach a certain speed force and that kind of stuff, or speed.
You're not fast enough to throw it into the speed force by yourself.
And when the time had slightly changed and they see HR with a gun on top of the roof, he doesn't at all shoot at Savatar. He doesn't try and do anything to stop Savatar killing Iris. So then you're thinking, is he really there trying to snipe Savatar? Or is he there trying to snipe anyone else that comes to try and stop Savatar? Because that is him in the future, and he knows that, or something like that. So there are theories of why it could be HR. My joking theory, because my real one is who I'm 99% sure it's going to be, and I thought from the start, my joking theory is that it's Oliver Queen. Now, what would be more shocking than a character already in the Flash being revealed? Well, it would be a character not really in the Flash, but in his own show, Arrow. So what if, because if you look at the build of the guy and the fair hair and the hairstyle, from behind it looks exactly like Oliver. So what if Oliver, maybe not the Oliver in Earth 1 or the current timeline, maybe an alternate Oliver, he might be Savatar. That makes no sense, really. It's just an absolute ridiculous thing, but that would be a big shock, wouldn't it? But I think that's a bit of a joking theory that I said, really. Who could it be? I don't know. I think I know who it is. Eddie Thawne. So yes, might not come as any surprise to you, but I think it's Eddie Thawne. That's who I thought it was from the start. And I don't even remember where the picture where it's got the guy, from behind. I don't even remember that in the show. I can't even remember what episode that's from. I just always thought it was for some reason, because I just kind of know what tricks they play, and I was like, oh, but that's Eddie. And I just thought it from the start, to be honest. But now that I remember, or now that I've seen that picture again, I'm like, from behind that really does look like Eddie. The hairstyle's the same. He's fairly big, and Eddie always was, fairly well built. He's white, and he's a person that's died, so it'll be a bit of a shock. So to me, that's like the only thing it can be. Now the real question though is, what kind of Eddie Thawne is it? Is it the one we know from Earth 1 who killed himself to stop Eobard Thawne being born? Or is it like an alternate one? Because the thing is, apparently Savatar got his powers and he's like the first speedster, so he got his powers way long ago. So it's like, well, how could it be Eddie Thawne? Because he's only born in this timeline. But maybe they don't mean it as literally as they say. Like maybe it wasn't back in Egypt or something like that he got these powers. Maybe it was more recent than that, or maybe there's some kind of manipulation of time going on again. So maybe Eddie goes back to when the first time the Philosopher's Stone was found and gets his powers that way back in the past, and then goes back, or starts again from there being a speedster, or comes back to a more present day and carries on from that time. So it could be something like that he's managed to do. Or, some of the actions of Savatar lead me to believe it's the Eddie we know. Now, I know that's not really possible, because obviously, he shot himself in the chest, but considering Eddie's genes are capable of taking the Speed Force, I know that's a stupid thing to say, but Eobard obviously was a descendant of him, and the fact that he completely changed all of time, really, and stopped a particular speedster, Eobard, from coming to fruition, maybe the Speed Force sort of decided to give him some powers. Maybe he made himself an anomaly, an aberration if you're talking about DC Legends Tomorrow, or a time remnant, or whatever you want to call it. And they gave him, or Speed Force gave him powers to be like, maybe, I don't know, like as a reward? I don't know. But somehow, for some reason, he got his powers at that point. And he disappeared into the Speed Force, into time, or wherever he goes. And he's, in the future, decided to come back because, well, he's kind of disgruntled. he hates the fact that the Flash did Flashpoint, changed all the time, again, and that he lost Iris. He lost everything. He lost his normal life, didn't he? And if he remembers that, if he has like a latent memory of that happening, and knows that he didn't even really exist anymore due to Flashpoint, he'd be quite disgruntled by that. And the fact that he kills Iris and not really anyone else, when he could easily kill them all, he only kills Iris. That to me is like a big lesson to Barry as a, screw you for taking my girl, screw you for creating Flashpoint and ruining my whole life, and screw you, Iris, for not being mine. It's the kind of thing a demented person who's turned evil would do. So to me, all the ticks go towards Eddie being Savatar. Not only the fact that Eddie's recently been posting Instagram pictures of him back on set, and we know in, I think, like Enter the Speed Force episode, he briefly appears as one of like the Speed Force conduits to talk to Barry. I don't think it was only one episode that he filmed, because he seemed to have quite a few pictures from the set, and it just seemed like it was a big announcement he was making. He was like, I'm returning to the Flash, rather than I'm just doing a cameo. It seemed like he was hinting at something. So I think he's back to do more than one episode, and that will be, of course, when he reveals himself as Savatar by coming out of that crazy armour and going, it's me all along, ha ha. However, there are reasons why it probably isn't Eddie Thawne. I know I've just spent ages saying why it is, but there are things that Savatar has said which makes it seem like he isn't Eddie, and that's because he says things like, I know how this all plays out because I've lived it all already, as in, almost like he's saying, I'm one of the team, but I've come back from the future, because how could he have lived it already if he's Eddie Thawne? Eddie Thawne is not in that timeline at the moment, he's gone. So when he knows things are going to happen, he knows exactly how the team's going to, like one of them's going to fall, one of them's going to betray, and all that kind of stuff. That does kind of push the whole Eddie Thawne theory out the window again. So that's the only real problem I have here as to who it could be. The more you look at the picture, the more it seems like perhaps the hair isn't that light. It looks like it's almost dark from behind, and it's just the light from the thing he's holding shining it up. And in the future, Barry could have been hitting the protein shakes, even some steroid injections. He could have put some size on. Although I don't see how that's really possible, because his metabolism is so high that to eat the amount of food he'd need to, and to lift the amount of weight he'd need to grow to that sort of size, would basically be impossible. But let's pretend he somehow did. Maybe it's future Barry. I think probably, guys, it is actually Barry, to be honest. Because Barry has done so much changing of the past and therefore future, that maybe future Barry is sick to death of what younger Barry has done. We've already seen there's a news report where Iris' name is not there anymore. Maybe that's not because of just Savatar killing her, or Barry killing her. Maybe she's already planned and destined to not be on that news report because of Flashpoint. And that's why future Barry comes back and kills her, because she's irrelevant now, because she's going to die anyway. And maybe the whole of the future is completely messed up because of younger Barry, and future Barry just wants to come back and teach him a lesson and just, say, you shouldn't have done that, mate, I'm going to kill you. So has this video helped at all, guys? No? Oh, you don't know who it is still? I've made it worse, have I? Yeah, sorry about that. So guys, that about do it, I think. I'm really sorry that this video is just very overly complicated and doesn't really make any sense, and I backtrack every 5 seconds, but that is the nature of theories.
Make your choice.
So guys, if you like that, please click like, make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the next video. And until then, remember, don't bother trying to do like a theory video, because you just tangle yourself up and it's just a nightmare. Okay, bye. It's John Constantine! Guys, if you're still here, you're awesome! But as you are still here, why not check out some of my other videos? Oh, and if you haven't already, please click subscribe. Laters, haters.